So there was a point in my career where I really had to sit down and think, am I really still enjoying this career? Like, am I still cut out for this anymore? In this episode, I share with you that story and the things that I had to really get clear on that got me back on the right course and helped me to really enjoy working behind the chair again as a hairstylist. Hey guys, if you're struggling to get clients in your chair and you have no idea of where to start, I can help you. I have some free resources. You can visit On Point Hair by Sherry, SHERRI.com to grab my free training on attracting new clients, explore cutting education, or learn about coaching if you want a bit more support with me. Let's get started. Do you want a full chair with a steady flow of clients and more confidence behind the chair, but you struggle with slow books, inconsistent income, and feeling stuck or discouraged? If so, my friend, you're in the right place. Hey, I'm Sherry Brody, hairstylist, educator, and mentor behind the chair. After rebuilding my business multiple times, I've learned how to own my chair like a business, creating clarity, confidence, and consistency without the feeling of burnout. So grab your shears, step behind the chair with me, and let's build that business you've been dreaming of. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Cutting Through It. My name is Sherry Brody, your host. Today, if you are a hairstylist that maybe you're feeling a bit burnout, maybe even thinking about maybe giving up on this career, or maybe you're stressed out because maybe your books are a little bit slow. This is right now, at the time of this recording, it is the beginning of February, and this is a time of year that a lot of this industry feels a little bit of slowing down. And you might be a hairstylist that's really stressed out right now. Maybe you're seeing some gaps in your books. If that's you, then you're going to get a lot out of this episode today. Just recently, my daughter, she came to visit me and we had a really great time. And she was curious on this trip. She was asking me a lot of questions, and some of them came up about my past. And we talked about a lot of things, and it got me thinking about a time in my career where I just really felt burnt out. And I use that word because I really did. I mean, I was just like, I'd been doing hair at the time for about 30 years, a little bit under, I guess. And I had gone through a huge change in my personal life. And I had, for the majority of my career, I had owned a salon and was training stylists. But I also became an educator. And what I taught was hair cutting and client communication. And I really loved it. And at the time I was just, I was surviving. I was running my salon and I was educating and raising my family. And then one day, the company that I was working for, it got bought out by another company. You guys might recognize it, of course. It's Wella. And so because the company I was teaching for became part of the Wella family, I then became an educator under the Wella family umbrella. And at the time, I didn't really think about it, but as I was going through a story with my daughter, it made me, and I was thinking about it and pondering on our conversation, something hit me, and it gave me the idea of what I wanted to speak about today on this episode. As I started my journey working with Wella, I started, going to salons and training, but what shifted was that I wasn't taught training on hair cutting and communication part and the business building part. I was teaching color, and I really didn't enjoy it. It didn't light me up as much. I was finding myself not really enjoying as much of the classes. And eventually I ended up being a full-time studio educator there for, I think it was a little over a year. And eventually what ended my time there at Wella was that Wella decided to close that studio in San Francisco. And although they did offer me a full-time educator job, but it was traveling all the time. And as a mother And still having a salon at the time, that wasn't even an option for me. And I just knew it in my heart that it wasn't a good choice. So I resigned and went back to the salon. And it was at that time in my life that I was like, what am I doing? Do I really want to keep doing hair? I was forced to rebuild my clientele because I had given them to a lot of the stylists, and I was coming back to a salon that I needed to rebuild as well because a lot of stylists had left during my time that I was working at Wella. And it was just a time in my life where I was like, do I really want to keep doing hair? We ended up closing our big salon, and I found a little small salon and rebuilt my business. And it was at that time in my life that I really realized I needed to really get clear on some things. I needed to get clear on who I was as a person and as a stylist, and get clear on what I really wanted to do. What services did I want to perform? And on top of that, what type of salon did I really want to have and be a part of? And who was it I really wanted to serve? What clients did I really want to work on? Because honestly, it was like the first time in a lot of years that I was forced into starting again from ground zero. And in my past life even in my personal life and in my business life, I made decisions impulsively. I didn't really think about them. It was almost like, like when you get in the car. I remember when my son was a young child, he just asked me, Mom, like, how did you get by without Google Maps? And, that thought came to my mind just now, because when we go on a trip, we plan the trip. You go onto Google Maps, you put your destination in, you see where there's going to be stops, you plan your trip. And if we don't plan our trip and we just start driving, then what? You're just kind of aimlessly going, stopping where you need to stop. You're burning gas. You're wasting money. And eventually you're just going to stop somewhere where you didn't even want to be. And that's kind of where I was at in my life and in my career. And so today I want to talk to you about the things that I personally got clear on. And I want to share those with you because you're probably seeing all over social media. I know I am. There's so many, people that are telling you from their experience, here is how you can get clients in your chair. There's so many ways, guys. And I could share those with you, and I have on some previous podcasts, and I will on some episodes. And these are great ideas. But honestly, guys, if you don't get clear on some of these things before you start getting clients in your chair and really start building, then you're just going to end up in a place just like I was. You're going to end up in a place where you're just feeling stressed. You're going to feel burnt out, and you're not going to feel happy. The reason I wasn't happy at that time in my life was because my personal life and my business life, none of them were aligning with like who I was at the core and what I really wanted. I mean, I look back on that time now, and I was so excited to be part of Wella. I'd known him my whole career. It's quite an honor for me. And I do have the gift of teaching, and I love sharing my knowledge and helping other stylists grow. But color, even though I do color behind the chair, it's not my passion. Haircutting is. Communicating with clients is. Building a successful business behind the chair and sharing that with hairstylists, that is. And that wasn't happening at Wella. And at the time, I didn't really realize that. Today, I'm going to share with you 3 areas that you need to get very clear on before you even try to fill your chair. Now, notice I say fill your chair, not just going and getting clients, because guys, in my career, my long career behind the chair, I've worked in every aspect of salon there is out there. And the one common thing is that chair. And that chair is your business. So when you're listening to this podcast, you're going to hear me a lot about filling your chair and looking at your chair as your business. Because guys, if you don't learn to look at that chair as your business and that you are the CEO of it, you're never going to have the success that you really desire. So before we get started, I just want to encourage you, make sure that you take time. If you are listening to this while you're walking or you're busy doing something, if you're able to stop and hone in and start taking notes, this is the time to do it. If not, I encourage you to come back to this episode and write the prompts that I'm giving you and really take some time, some personal time with yourself and really think through these things, because I can honestly tell you that when you can get clear on these things that I'm going to share with you first, before you even start trying to get clients in your chair and building and growing your business, you're going to potentially end up in a place like I was. Unhappy, unfulfilled, feeling stressed out, feeling burnt out, and constantly trying to fill your chair because things don't align with you. First question is, how comfortable are you when you're approaching strangers? I ask this question because, guys, you are your walking billboard. You are the one person that is responsible for getting the word out there about your business. And I know for some of you, and I know for myself, this used to scare me to death, to approach somebody that I don't even know. How do I approach them? And what do I say? What are they going to think of me? You got to get out of your head and focus on what it is you're trying to do when you're trying to build your business. How do you feel about talking about your business? That brings me to the next question. How do you feel about that? Are you clear on what your business is? Who what you do, what you would say to somebody when you come to them and talk to them? Does it feel awkward to you? If that is something that scares you to death, then I'm going to give you an idea. Something that I did that really helped me overcome this was I joined networking groups. And when you join a networking group, you're forced, every time you meet, you're forced to talk about your business. And at first, when I started doing it, oh my gosh, I'd be sitting there and we'd be going around the room and they would say, you have I can't remember now. I think it's a 3-minute intro. But by the time it got to me, I would just be like, oh my gosh, my whole time, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? I mean, even though I would make notes on what I would say, I had to think of my 3-minute speech of who I was and what my business is. Because when you're in a networking group, you're all promoting each other. But it's really a great way to get you in front of people you don't know talking about your business. It's just a great way to practice it. And, there's so many different things that you can do. But the thing I'm going to tell you is there's a quote that I keep on my refrigerator and I read it every day. It's by Neil Donald Walsh. And it says, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. And it's so true, you guys. If this scares the bejeebies out of you, I'm going to challenge you to overcome it, step over it and do it. Because the first few times you do it, yes, it's going to be scary. But once I did it the first time, the next time it was so much easier. And then the next time was even easier. And then it brings me to the next thing that you've got to ask yourself. How do I handle rejection? Because guys, when you do this, you're going to get a lot of no's before you get a yes. But persistence is key here. You can't let your feelings get hurt. This isn't about poor me. This is about your business and growing your business. And it takes courage. It takes stepping over uncomfortableness and doing things that you're scared of to build the business that you want to have behind the chair. Something that I would do every time before I would go to a networking group, before I would go out into the world on those slow days to promote myself, armored with business cards, I would think in my mind about picturing my chair full, getting clear on why I was doing it. It really helps to get yourself into that mindset. I got to do this if I want to succeed. I got to do this. I got to step over this and do it. So I just want to encourage you that I'm not telling you to do something that I haven't done and other stylists haven't done. Any successful stylist, if you talk to them, they've had to do things that were uncomfortable and scary. So the next thing I want you to think about is, who are you as a stylist? For instance, what are the services that light you up, that you enjoy doing the most? What are the services that you're confident in doing, that when you're doing them, your client feels your confidence, you love it, you're enjoying doing it? And if you're like, well, I'm not sure, then think about the services that you don't enjoy doing or that you're nervous about. You see a service on your books and in your heart and mind, you're like, I'm not really confident in this service. You see, I want you to think about these because honestly, guys, when you go out and when you're talking about your business, people that are potentially going to be your clients or people that you are approaching, if you're not confident in what you're telling them about that you do, they're going to feel it and it's going to come off that way when you're talking to them. But when you're talking to somebody and you're sharing with them about who you are, where you work, and, how much you'd love to do their hair because, of the service that you do, when you enjoy doing it and you love it, it's going to be magnetic, meaning they're just going to naturally attract people to you. But I don't know about you, but I can tell when somebody's not being authentic. For instance, when I was rebuilding my business, I would go out and when I would approach somebody, I would notice somebody with a really great haircut, and they had a look about them that I thought, I really want to work on them. Those are the ones I would approach and I would talk to them. I already knew because of the haircut that they had on their head that they liked trending haircuts, and they all obviously wanted somebody that really could cut hair. So because I am passionate about it and I love doing it and I'm confident about doing it, then when I would approach them and share with them that I noticed them and that I'd really love the opportunity to cut your hair, it made them almost curious to want to come see me because I was so confident in myself. Do you understand what I'm saying here? I hope that I'm making the point that I don't want you just to go out there and blindly start promoting your business without really thinking about what you're promoting. So really get clear on the services that you really enjoy doing and that you're confident in. Because guys, the whole idea about this is those clients that do take you up on coming to see you, you want to have them come and sit in your chair because you want them to experience you. And the whole goal is to give them an experience that makes them want to come back, and not only come back, but make sure they give you a 5-star review and give you referrals, right? But guys, if a client comes in and sits in your chair, they're going to see right away if you're not confident in your skills. So that's why I say, before you even go out and promote, be thinking about, who you are as a stylist too. Be thinking about what services you are confident in doing now, wherever you're at. When I was first starting out in the industry, I promoted hairstyling. And what I'm sharing with you of what I'm doing here, I learned a lot of this in apprentice programs. I did go through a couple different apprentice programs through my career. I was never too proud to learn from somebody that I knew could help me move the needle up. And every apprentice program that I've been in, we had cutting days or coloring days, and we had to go out and get models. And I didn't realize it then until I had my own team that I was training and apprenticing, and I did the same thing to them, that, them having me go out and get models for those classes, I was scared to do it and uncomfortable, but it got me comfortable talking to strangers about what I do. Even if you're a new hairstylist, if that's where you're at in your career, maybe it's just you're promoting your styling abilities. Don't think you're not good enough that you can't go out and do it. There is something that you do behind the chair that you enjoy doing that can get a client in your chair, that can experience who you are. and can grow with you in your business. And the third thing I want you to get really clear on is your client. Who is your ideal client? And a way to really start thinking about it is think about the client that you see on your books that you're excited to see. Then think about the client you see on your books that you're like dreading. Like, oh my gosh, Mary Jane is coming in Saturday, and you're thinking about it all week long. Oh, great. Mary Jane's coming in on Saturday. And then you're just thinking about it all week, and you're just trying to get through the service with Mary Jane. That's the clients you don't want. So when you stop and think about the client that you really love seeing and you enjoy talking with, you click with, we've all had those clients that have sat in our chair, and within a few minutes, you're like, this is definitely not my person. We just don't click. And then there's people that sit in your chair and you just click. There's those clients that on those days that you have made a little mistake, they don't just dump you because they're loyal to you, because you click, because they see you, you see them. So think about that. And this is something that I want to encourage you to do. Take the time and make up a name for her. Give her a name and start really describing her down to how she dresses, how she likes her hair, what services she likes, where does she work, where does she hang out, does she go to the coffee shop, where does she shop? Learn everything about her. Like, for instance, is she a busy mom? Is she a professional? Are you wanting a client that she's a mom and you want to be able to do a whole family, the kids and everything? This is something to really put in and make your imaginative ideal client profile. And the reason I want you to really think about that is because when you are going out and you're talking to potential clients, when I'm talking to you about getting yourself out there and promoting yourself and getting into networking groups and just getting in front of people and talking about your business, I don't want you to just do it with anybody. I want you to do it potential clients that you will enjoy doing and that will enjoy you as a hairstylist. It's kind of like dating. When you're dating somebody, I remember there was a time in my life where I was on the stupid dating app. Well, you'd look at these dating apps and you'd read everything about them. I was so particular. I didn't just accept a date from anybody. I'd read through their profile and see if anything aligned, see if they had the same likes, well, blah, 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 whatever. You get the idea. I don't want you to do that. And guys, it's like that with a hairstylist. If we are just sitting around waiting for that walk-in, we're waiting for the salon to get those clients in the chair. We're just taking whatever comes into our chair. Eventually, that you're going to end up on this hamster wheel of always trying to rebuild your business, because you're going to have clients that you're going to have to you're shuffling through that aren't your ideal client. And I know, guys, depending on where you're at in your career, if you're new in the industry, yes, you got to get clients in your chair. You're going to take the walk-ins. You're going to take the ones that the salon puts in your chair, of course. But my whole point to this whole thing is to take control of that chair that you work on. And it all starts with getting yourself clear on who you are as a person so that you know what you need to work on, so that you can comfortably promote your business and that you're promoting with confidence. You're promoting services that you're confident in doing right now, and you're clear on what you need to get education on so that you can grow your business. And most importantly, that you're confident on who you want to work on, what type of client you want to work on. That's taking control of your business. That's building your business for long-term success so that you don't hit the wall at some point and just be burnt out because you're working on people that you don't enjoy doing, that suck the life out of you, or you're doing services that you don't enjoy doing, that don't light you up. And it's not just burnout that this causes, guys. it causes us to lose confidence, because I can honestly tell you, there was a time I remember I took a client for a color blocking service and I hadn't mastered it yet. Like, I had just kind of learned about it, but I thought, well, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And the whole time I was doing this service, I was up in my head because the client in my chair, she had expectations that I knew what I was doing. But the whole time I wasn't able to fully connect with that client. I wasn't able to be myself during that whole service because I was in my head trying to make sure I'm doing the right thing. And when I was showing her the final product, I didn't love the results. It wasn't what I wanted it to be. And she could feel that. It was something that a lot of times happens behind the chair. And I'm sure if you've been working at all behind the chair, you know what I'm talking about. Clients, if they don't feel your confidence and they can see it, or they feel like you're just kind of faking it, they're just going to ghost you and they're not going to come back. Most clients are not going to tell you to your face because nobody wants confrontation. But I share that with you because at that time, when that client left the chair, I felt like a failure. Like, I just felt, I don't know about you, but I mean, we as people, stylists, we try to be perfectionists. Can you relate to that? I mean, we can do a great haircut on somebody and they might love it, but when they leave, we're in our head going, I should have done this, or I should have done that. Well, this time around, I was in my head for a long time and I lost my confidence. And that's like the worst thing to have happen to you when you're working behind the chair. When you get clear on who you are as a person, your personality, get clear on the services that you're confident in doing, that you love doing now, and you get clear on who you really want to work on, then you have a roadmap to start with. You're setting some foundations that are gonna set your business up for success for the long run. So guys, I hope today's episode that you gleaned some inspiration and some encouragement in where you're at right now. If it has, I'd love to hear about it. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and leave me a review and let me know what stood out for you most today. And hey, if you want to spend more time with me, come on over to my free Facebook group. The link is in the show notes below. I'd love to see you in there. And once again, I just want to encourage you. You got this. I've been there. I know what it feels like. So don't give up. Take the time to ponder these questions I have given you today and get out there and build that business that you're dreaming of behind the chair. I'll see you next time. Hey friend, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If it helped you, I'd love for you to hit subscribe and leave a quick review and share what stood out most for you today. When you leave a review, it helps other stylists find this show. And hey, if you want to hang out with me more and learn alongside other like-minded stylists who are working on building their clientele as well, I have a free Facebook group I just started. You'll find the link in the show notes below. I'd love to have you there and hang out with you. I'll be back next week. Until then, happy haircutting, and remember, your chair is your business, so own it like a pro.